Let me tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give God glory. And for everything He's done for you, you need to give God glory.
Welcome to the Dumb Saints podcast. I'm Alex.
I'm PJ, your second favorite co-host.
Oh, the second favorite.
Yeah.
Some people, I think I'm the second favorite.
True.
You're my first favorite.
You're my first favorite.
Okay, good. Agree to disagree. Okay, so we're gonna have a discussion today. This is gonna be similar to probably some of the first discussions we were having.
Wait, dude. First things first.
What?
We played each other in fantasy today.
Oh my gosh.
And bro, it was a close game.
You barely beat me.
It wasn't, bro.
You barely beat me.
He's the executioners. He lost.
I haven't even looked at it
Dude,
yet. Let me see.
Jonathan Taylor. That's what stunk. If Jonathan Taylor played normal, you would have beat me.
And Kelsey too.
But this is the thing. This is what people don't understand about podcasts. To manage a podcast, manage a fantasy football team, you guys aren't on this level.
Hold on. What's your record and what's mine
Okay, let's go back to it.
in this league?
Okay, well,
We're talking about
game,
1
after
week.
After this game,
Uh-huh.
where is it? What is it? Scoreboard? No, standings.
Yeah.
So right now you're 8-3, and I'm 6-5.
Mm-hmm.
I just beat you, so now you're 8-4, and I'm 7-5.
And
So you better not lose next week, and I win.
and who's first in the league right now?
Well, you're first, dude. But look at there's a
Yeah.
look,
No, you don't have to say
look at this.
anything else,
1,
brother.
2, 3, 4, 5. A 5-way tie for second.
Yeah, but y'all are still 1 win away from me. I'm 2 wins ahead. Nobody's even touching me, bro.
But you losing this week sucks because some of these guys won too. So
But I'm not going to.
it's okay.
Listen, Jonathan Taylor, I don't know what you were doing today, but I forgive you.
Good, amen.
All right, so today we're going to be having a discussion similar to the first few episodes where we were
like-
kind of giving our insight
Like
on...
30 episodes ago,
Yeah, like we're kind of giving our insight on like...
they're like, dang, they already ran out of content. They're gonna go back
No,
to
it's not
30
that.
days.
I'm just saying like this is going to be more similar to those episodes in the sense that like we have a lot of thoughts on this, and like we have a lot of discussions that we're already having outside
Mm-hmm.
of like, hey, let's talk about this in the podcast. Like this is something that we wouldn't even have to plan. If we wanted to, we could just press record because we have so many thoughts on it. Being in ministry, we have gained some experience and insight being on both sides of it.
Yeah.
And being young, but now we're kind of middle-aged.
Yeah.
We've got kids. We're not young adults anymore.
And what's cool is also it's like we both started in like ministry in the same place, and then I left to different places.
Right.
So I've had like different experiences while you've had like the evolution of here,
True.
which is
True.
cool.
So what we're talking about is the current state of the church and a trend that we are seeing. Now, I will say this trend is not, you would be hard pressed to find a statistic that generalizes this statement with like statistics. It is a specific thing that we have experienced and we are seeing and observing.
Yeah.
And it hasn't happened so much that you could say this is a widespread problem and this is a widespread trend. I don't think that. It's just the first time ever that this even kind of is something
Yeah.
that I have seen. And what we're talking about is the migration of young people, young families, and just people in general migrating from a kind of more modern style of church
Yeah.
to a more traditional and liturgical style of church. We are seeing a move.
Yeah.
And that is interesting. First time in my life that I have personally heard stories and watched people that I know of navigate to a more traditional liturgical style of worship
Yeah.
and like really be passionate about
Oh,
that style
yeah.
of church. Because usually, I mean, here's the key words that we throw up. We need to be relevant. Okay? It needs to be attractive to young people.
Yeah.
There needs to be high energy. It needs to be youthful. It needs to be fun.
Yeah.
And because of that, the church has become something that has gone past the relevancy and is now gone to a place where, for whatever reason, the traditional style of church tends to be more attractive. And this is not the case for everybody. So we're not, and the reason why I said what I said, I don't want to make a generalization and say, oh, everybody's going to Catholicism. I'm not saying that, but I am saying I'm hearing more stories than I ever have of people doing that. And what does that mean? And not just Catholicism. It's also more traditional, like Anglican, Orthodoxy.
Yeah.
And basically, we're looking at liturgical styles of worship. This is where everything is very structured. The sacraments are a central part to every service. And there's specific procedures that have been followed for hundreds of years. And in some cases, they would argue thousands of years. And so, yeah. So why is that? And we're going to talk about that today.
Well, first off, I have so many decent reasons on why, and then I have a couple good reasons why I think that is.
So, so your first one's like, this might be why.
Yeah, but I might not even go. I'm just going to start with this one, which is a strong one.
Okay.
But I do believe that what we're seeing now, and now this is, for me personally, this is conversations I'm having with people in our own church, right? People in other churches.
Yeah.
And then the churches I'm connected to through social media,
Mm-hmm.
and then all the other forums and just like everything you're connecting, you see. And I do see that this age range is that they're coming back to, I do believe, what their parents did. I do believe some of them are like in a place, they're not sure where they want to do, like that 24, 23, 25 age. And they're just kind of like, man, what would my dad do? What would my mom do? And I think that's why a lot of them are going to this traditional, like raise your child in a way they don't depart. And I think some of them, it's crazy because this whole kind of like production, performative, using your talents for the Lord, like it's now in some conversations having being shunned upon, like that's not authentic. And it's like, that's crazy because you pay $250 to go to the concert to hear the guy do the runs, but if the guy in the worship team does the runs, all of a sudden, that's a separate conversation. But one reason...
No, it's true, but it's one of the first things people bring up when they're critiquing a modern style of worship.
Yeah, 100%. So I do think part of it is that this age range is trying to get back to like some, man, what did we do as kids? When life was great, what was it like? Oh, I remember going to church on Sunday. And I think some of them are doing that. And then I think there's a huge group of them who are also battling these, like we've talked about it, the LG, like they're just battling society, they're battling culture wars, they're battling all these things that are being forced upon them, and what they're doing deliberately, they're choosing to walk this way and they're bringing upon it, but they're also in this place where it's like, even for 6 months to a year, if you're battling an addiction or thoughts or depression, it'll weigh on you so quick. So I do believe people are getting to this place where we said it today in church. We were like, like you've tried everything. You're trying to fill that void.
You have everything you need. You still feel this pull and this longing towards something.
And that's why I do believe that this age range is going back to this authentic original style of church and worship, and even how it's presented. Because unfortunately, what the good of social media can do for us, and being like, oh, we can see what's going on in this region or this state or how this group is doing it. Also, there's a whole bunch of idiots on there who kind of hurt the body of Christ.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, like look at this church and how performative, and look, they're doing this, and it's like not even church anymore.
Of course, like we get critiques of our church that don't even exist for us, but they saw it somewhere else and they just assume that we do something like that and then apply it to us.
Now, this is the thing. We can only speak for our church and for the other churches that we're connected that we talk to. I can speak to some more churches, but in this context, I mean, for a church that does something that is widely becoming this performative idea at the movies, that in the beginning when Life Church did it, it was awesome, it was changing lives, and then like it went through like this last, I don't know, like honestly, like the last 1 to 5 years, where it's kind of been like, you still do that? That's lame, and like how people are all of a sudden attacking you all of a sudden for doing it. But
there were people attacking on the front end.
Yeah.
saying that like, how dare you play movies in church and play secular music in church. But now it's like even the people that maybe loved it on the front end,
Yeah, it's a different
it's
reason.
become routine now.
Yeah.
And so it's not as exciting and new and fresh.
But this is
as
what
it
I
was.
meant by I can only speak for our church. I've never seen the response of people coming to the altar. First off, does your church even have an altar call, or is it just the raise hands thing the whole time? We can have another conversation. But people are coming to the altar after a movie. And it's not the whole movie, but it's like the way you teach the message to the movie. But ultimately, they're both kind of pulling you in, and they're doing this thing, and all of a sudden, you find yourself, and you're like, oh, wow. I can resonate with that character, or I can do that. And the scriptures make so much sense because I also feel that way. So now, like, I could be adopted into this new family. And I do think that's where this young adult age, like, I've noticed for like the last 2 to 3 years. And I think that's how long we've been talking about it. But they're just they're going back to these traditional what the church, like, what does a church look like in your mind? That's what they're going back to. Like when you're like, oh, this church is like, but I do believe that from the outside, we need to do a little more digging, because I think sometimes we're like, oh wow, like they're just going back to how we remember back in even 2006 or 7 or 8. I imagine there's had to been some type of advancement. Because there also is like some of the kids that I know, and some like the little brothers of friends that I'm with that are going in, like, which is I'm not knocking anyone for it, but it's like, oh, that's surprising, because it's like there's a cool ARC church in your area, or there's like there's other churches that do church really really well,
And you're not going there.
and you're not going there. That's just one reason.
Well, that's like what you just said is something that people will latch on to, like, oh, they do church really well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what do you mean they do church?
Yeah.
It's like,
The comments are already going to be
yeah,
great.
you can get into that. I mean, the idea is we give it, like, there is an utmost level of reverence, and in many cases in the form of excellence.
Yeah.
Like, we are reverent of our God, and therefore we will give him the best. And what does the best look like?
See, there's nothing wrong with, like, the same people that hate churches love waiting in line for Chick-fil-A and love the service and love the excellence, love the routine, love but when it comes to a church, it's like, but did you allow that to happen? Or did you? So it's just
they'll critique you if you had a plan. That was a good plan that worked.
Yeah.
And you executed the plan well.
Sorry,
Sometimes
we had a little bit of order and we wanted to be decent at it.
So I'm gonna flip one of the things that one of the reasons you gave. One of the reasons you gave was, I think that people are returning to what they know. I personally think, at least in some of the ones that I have seen of people that I know, I think it's the complete opposite of that, bro.
Like what they're being influenced by?
No, I think they are rebelling against what they know.
Oh.
And we're at the point now where,
because we actually don't talk before, so it's like now.
Well, we're at the point now where, and what you said could definitely be true. And in fact, and before I say
I'm
what
sure
I'm going
for
to say, when I was looking up the stats on this, a huge portion of the influx of Catholicism is being referred. It's actually people in their 20s and 30s who used to be Catholic.
Yeah. Dude, they went
now
to
that they have their own family. They're going back.
And that's where a lot of my friends are, because where I'm from is a lot of Portuguese, Brazilian, where I'm from up in Massachusetts.
Right.
And that is already naturally what they do. And I'm noticing them go back and now doing, like, you see the post, it's like, oh, they did the Christ with their kids. It's like they're doing all these different things now.
So, yeah, and that's what, in the stats, it was saying these aren't converts, these are reverts, is what it was saying. They're reverting back to what they know. So, what you just said is definitely true for many people. What I am talking about, though, I think, is that we are at the point where
misfits.
Well, there are young adults now who grew up in our churches that are modern. And that's what they know.
Dude, before we even keep diving down this thought, even think of, because you grew up in a version of what our church is now earlier in Delaware. Like,
yeah, like people weren't wearing jeans in church yet, but there was a drum set and people were playing.
Dude, think about the church I come from. Yeah. Like super legalistic Pentecostal that has slowly progressed over time, but still, and imagine those people that are also reverting to a whatever version, or I do agree to what you're saying, that some of them are like, I did not. I hated this.
Mhm.
I did not like that lady who hit her head on the floor,
Mhm.
and I didn't like the running, and I didn't like it. Like I would like more of this style.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely. I can.
I think when we were kids, like my parents' church, I wanted to go to a church that was completely different because I didn't like what I grew up in. It's like what you're used to becomes normal, and when you get to an age, you want to do something new, you want to do something fresh, and you want to do something different.
Yeah. That's why like girls around like 13, 14 want to dye their hair all of a sudden and cut it.
Yeah, well, everybody wants. They don't want to just be their parents' kid. They're now finding out who they are. And when you begin a relationship with God, for me, it wasn't that I was rebelling against my parents' way of doing church. I had grown in my relationship with God, and I felt a call to things that were valuable to me that weren't valuable to my parents' church. And I think what we could see is that people who grew up in this kind of a church, they're desensitized to it.
Yeah.
It's not
Which a dangerous place to even find yourself in.
Yeah, but like it's not special
Yeah.
to hear a Brandon Lake song on a Sunday. Almost all the churches in our area, Baptist and Pentecostal and across the board, they're doing some elevation song in the set potentially at some time this month. So that's not special. Maybe you have amazing sound. That's not special either. There's tons of great churches that they could go to that are going to have really excellent production level. That used to be special. That used to be fresh. It's not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So now what's interesting is because of that, what is fresh to them is actually something that's thousands of years old. Like
it is fresh to them.
It's fresh to them.
Yeah.
So they're like, wait, there's a version of church where there's no like electric guitars? Well, that sounds
way
really,
more holy.
That sounds really authentic.
Sounds more holy.
You hear what I'm doing? You hear what I'm saying? So I think that's some of it. But
oh, you guys have a 12-foot harp on stage?
Yeah, sick.
That's fire.
Sick.
You guys blow shofars?
So that's a big thing. I think has caused because think about it, bro. We grew up in it.
Yeah.
We were a part of some pretty cool churches when we were maybe in our teenagers, right? Teenagers. Well, there's now been 13 years of other people who literally went from babies to young adults in a dope church that's doing church the way that we think is the best way to do it. And when they become adults, they're like,
no, totally.
They want something different.
You can even think of, just the kids that have been born since we've been here at our church.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's so funny because I do believe this is why it's so important, sidebar conversation, to not just apply for jobs that maybe you shouldn't even do.
What do you mean?
I just think that I do believe that there is a level of not anyone can just go and pastor.
Oh, you're talking
and I've just
about
known so many people
specifically.
who just have been like, I'm gonna do this, and then it's like, what happened? Why'd you stop? So it's just one of those. But it's so funny because as I was just praying into last year, and when I first got back on the team, and it's like, man, it was noticing young adults were wanting this authentic Jesus back. And they're just authentic community and and it was like, oh, that's not working anymore. The giveaways aren't working, this not working, whatever. So they just want real community, and they want to know who Jesus is for real. That's when I completely changed kids ministry to be like, all right, we're gonna actually just learn about Jesus, how they need to learn, because what they're learning from the world is way too advanced now, and also kids are smarter than ever. So it's like, hey, yeah, kids ministry can still be fun and all this stuff, but you have now a group, and this is a thing, bro. You have a group of young adults who just came out of maybe the heights of Elevation's youth ministry back in they're still amazing. Don't take that out of context. Or they went to Hillsong around these times, right? Or they went to these, when the height of youth ministry, and just what churches were from that 2010 to 2020 range, even maybe a little before. But now you have all those kids, right, who were kids, and now here they are as adults. And what I'm hoping for with our kids now is, okay, let's teach them Jesus, who he is, everything in context. Make sure that their worldview of Jesus is safe. Go that route. So by the time they go to youth and young adults, now when they get back to this place of, because this is to revert, you got to get lost. Or you got to get out of the flow. So it's hoping that some kids by then don't even get to that point where they just stay on the path. Because that's also what we're seeing. You have a whole age group of high schoolers who just got out of high school and young adults who just going into marriages or just having babies or they just got the job that they wanted after being at UCF for 4 years.
Yeah.
And dude, they're still unsure. And they're so unsure that they're now going different from how they were raised or trying something different based on what is popular to what influencers doing it. Because that's also, like, you see it. Certain influencers are actually promoting Jesus.
That's dope.
But they're doing it in this way that is, I think, obscuring a younger generation's idea.
Well, that I one of my reasons for why I think it's happening ties into what you're talking about right now. I think that social media and the rise of ministries having the platform of social media to preach and to spread their beliefs. I mean, bro, most of the people in our church who attend our church are not being pastored by just us. They're being pastored by us, but they're also gaining insights into scripture from like 10 other pastors.
Yeah. They get to follow them all.
Who they listen to and they follow their posts.
Yep.
And so like we are an amalgamation of a multiple different influences that they're getting that is helping them to build their worldview. And this is why I think what you were saying it obscures it. I think it muddies the water because so many different pastors have so many different beliefs and have so many different perspectives and interpretations of scripture. This is something that is attractive to the Orthodox or Catholic view, is that there is one way of viewing the scripture that they have all agreed on, and that they will point to thousands of years of Christians before them and councils that have come to these conclusions. They can point to that. And what we can point to is, yeah, when I was 23, God called me to launch a church in the city. Yeah. And so me and my wife, we left and we planted this church. Like, that's the beginning of the heritage of a person. Maybe you hear about, my parents were ministers, my grandparents were ministers. Like, that may be the case. Maybe your church is a part of a denomination that has a history. Like, I grew up Assemblies of God. There's some history there. But the Assemblies of God split off into multiple different times, and the Assemblies of God was from another split. Yeah. So like it's church split to church split to church split to church split. There's like 4,000 different denominations in the United States. So it shows you that before social media was happening, but our lives were isolated and we didn't really feel that. If you were plugged into a church, you didn't feel that unless your church itself split. But now on social media, I hear all kinds of different interpretations of scripture. I see all kinds of different perspectives on theological tenets. I see all kinds of different handlings of the sacraments. And I see all kinds of different things when it comes to the same verses in the Bible. Yeah. So that can muddy the waters. And then you have this, like you said, this also taps into something you said. They're smarter now than ever. Yeah. You cannot trick them. They can chat GPT it. They can Google it. They can research it. Yeah. They will find out not only what you believe about this thing, but why that is potentially wrong because somebody else has said something about it. And here's one thing that the liturgical style of worship those denominations have. They tend to be quite united on these things, and it can point to a very long history of standing on those beliefs.
Yeah.
There's times where things change, but it's much more rare because nowadays people get mad, and that's what happens. People get mad at a church and they just leave and plant their own church.
Yeah. And they took their favorite things from that church and
Right.
from the 6 churches before.
Yeah.
But every time that one thing ticks them off, they just subtract it.
But I
from
think
what they
that's what
do.
it is. People aren't stupid.
Yeah.
They see that that's how the Protestant churches, non-evangelical churches in America are handled. And so suddenly the really just solid old school, like this is what we've always believed and this is what we've always done. Oh, and like for the last 800 years,
Yeah.
all the Christians before us, this is what they did. You guys are part of the Protestant Reformation. That's kind of a new thing in the grand scheme of everything else. That becomes attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And you start going, well, maybe that is the true church.
Yeah. You know what else is? Because I'm thinking more along the lines of one of my good friends. He still lives in Massachusetts.
Mm.
A couple years ago, we were having a conversation because he started going back to church. And I was always like his good friend who went to church, you know? And it was funny because like when I found out the church he was going to in town, I was like, dude, you like that type of church? Like, I was like, that's old school. Like that's
Yeah.
like that's what I said. And he said, you know, I'm a really disciplined person.
Yeah.
These he said, for some of us, these rules are helpful. And he's talking about the legalistic rules
Mm-hmm.
of just what men and women can't do, even like not that they can't do, but what they've chosen not to do in this time.
Yeah.
And it's just so disciplined where it's like, okay, we're doing this at this time. And that's what church is. And it's also like, hey, we're going to be here for a while. So you're really going to, at some point, you're going to have an opportunity to lean into the Spirit and you're going to feel something because it's just going to be going on for a while. But we talked recently and it's like, hey, do you still go to that church? And he's like, no, we started going to this new church and I looked it up and it's like a church just like ours.
Yeah.
But that was in the matter of 5 years where he was coming back to Jesus in this moment then.
Mm-hmm.
And he started to have kids, so like life started to change and everything. And he thought that's what his family needed. And our conversation recently turned into just like how much he loves his new pastor and how much like his family's involved in the church and like how it's just, an hour and 25 minutes, which is still great. And he's just saying all these things.
Yeah.
And I'm just laughing because it's like, yeah, we come from the same church.
Yeah.
We come from the same background. And what you loved and what you were brought up in, it's funny, it goes back to your thought. He's like, I don't want that anymore. He's like, and we've had different texts and conversations. We've sent different videos back and forth on, I think the other day he just discovered Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell. And he's saying, he's like, have you heard of this guy? And I'm like, no, never heard of him, dude. And he's just like, dude, this is like how your grandpa used to preach,
Yeah.
but in today's verbiage.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I could see why you love that.
Yeah.
I could see that you love the passion, the yelling, all that stuff. You do. So now you're having this in the Hispanic community. These are all Hispanic people I've been talking about this whole time, where they are doing both. They're reverting back to something, or they're converting back to a different idea of what church is. Because I do believe that also what I'm hoping and I'm seeing is that, which, bro, this might take a whole bunch of time, but we've noticed it for a while. But this idea of just like being in church community, capital C wise, especially in young adults. It's like, well, I want to make sure I'm with the right friends. That could be the perspective. So I'm going to go to this group and that group and this group and that group. And we're going to make sure. That also is, I think, what is the byproduct of what social media has done to these people. Because it's like, well, I like that they do this. They do beach baptism, and I want to be a part of that when they do that.
Yeah.
But this church does, hope for the house, and they feed homeless people. So I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And then this church does small groups, really different, and I really want to be a part of that. And all of a sudden, it's like, you have everything. Everything is good. But there's still something that I think people are going to miss out on, and it's going to be our job. It's going to be people older than us job. It's going to be people in our age range job. to keep reminding people, hey, whatever style you like, whatever church it is, whatever it looks like, whatever it sounds like, plant some freaking roots and be a part of that church.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, if they're teaching the truth, teaching the gospel, they're loving their community, they're loving God, and however they sound, look, sound, whatever it is, if you get involved, you get to be used.
Yeah. It's a weird, like there's so many different reasons, and for each individual person, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
But I think another big reason why people seem to be attracted to, and it's interesting because we were talking about traditional church, and like you're referring to your perspective of traditional church, which is not the Catholicism. It's like old school Pentecostal.
Yeah.
So like what I'm referring to is like, we're talking about churches where the ceiling looks like a boat because it's got this huge arch, and there's stained glass on all the windows, and there's statues of Jesus and references to Mother Mary, and that kind of stuff is, and liturgical meaning like very scripted.
Yeah. You just have a lot of people going back to, and it's also funny. A lot of churches are also using that as their branding and imagery too.
Right. So totally. So I think what that is like, it's interesting.
I mean, we do.
To be relevant.
We technically do.
What do you mean?
Our logo is...
Oh, the Dumb Saints. Yeah, that's like a Renaissance lithograph. Or
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's just cool.
Yeah, so you have this weird way that like churches are trying to be relevant to these young Christians because they are attracted to that kind of stuff. Definitely. Totally.
Yes.
So that's and I like the aesthetic of it. I think it's cool. It's like you're re-owning that thing. And like there is this heritage that we have, and we got away from that, and we're like, let's build sick church buildings. And dude, if I had to build a building, I think it would look probably more like a
old Catholic
like
church.
An arena than it would like a Catholic temple.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what
I don't know. A cathedral, I mean. So
dude, there's a dope cathedral in Kansas City. I think it's the biggest one in the country.
Yeah.
It's sick.
So I think one of the reasons why it's so attractive also is for the same reason about it being muddied with like different theologies and different interpretations of scripture. I think there is this pull for like just truth. Like you said, those rules were good for me. I think it's because people just want to be told like, no, this is a sin and this isn't.
Yes. Why does my life suck? I want to give my life to Jesus. What do I have to do?
Well, you just got to seek him.
Yeah, right.
Okay, well, how do I seek him?
Yeah.
Well, that's something, the Holy Spirit will reveal that to you.
It's so true.
Can you tell me what to do?
In these in the spheres that young people are going back to, there is much more. That church's calendar is a little more filled out.
Yeah. There's
mass and prayers and you're really a part of this community, and it's like, okay, this kid's it is, from what I know, and this is why it's going to be, I wonder if it'll be different from even what you know, but it's like my idea even of just the Catholic Church is a whole bunch of Portuguese people.
Oh, that's funny.
I
mean, it's massive.
I know, but that's what's so
South
funny
America.
Because it's just, I imagine that's so different from, now I imagine it's the same exact thing.
No, to me, it's suburban, wealthy white people.
Yeah, but it's the same routine, dude. It's pull that little thing down, get on your knees. It's the same concept.
Well, that's the other thing about the Catholic Church that is hard to compete with in our churches.
Yeah, it's
the level of consistency.
Yeah. Dude, people love that.
And that's why they say we value the traditions.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the same way you have traditions.
And that guy's not going to have a different
special to you.
opinion. He's going to say it exactly how the other guy said it.
Yeah, well, and they have, they have teachers that teach different things, and of course, not every bishop agrees with all the other bishops, and like the Pope is voted on, he doesn't get a unanimous vote. Yeah. Like there's different directions of the Catholic Church, but the important things.
Yeah, but the people who voted for the other Pope aren't pissed at the Republicans.
What do you mean?
Like it's different.
Oh, like it's not like us versus them.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure in the Vatican there are crazy politics that you could probably make a reality show about, but at the end of the day, they're human just like us. But I think what's attractive to people is that the Catholic Church is, this is right, this is wrong. Okay, bro, here's an example. Abortion. The Catholic Church has been very outspoken. Abortion is wrong. And they don't beat around the bush.
They don't
on
even
it.
entertain the combo.
Yeah, it's not like, well, maybe. It's like, no.
they're
We
clear.
believe life begins at conception. If that's the case, then this is murder. And they still do hold this belief with homosexuality. The previous pope before kind of said some things that didn't seem like he was taking a hard stance on it.
Mm-hmm.
But the Catholic Church still has official stances. They do not marry homosexual couples. They will. I believe there was something where they would bless a homosexual couple, but the Pope was saying that to be a smart aleck, like, I'm going to bless anybody. I'll bless them. So I'm not really sure about that comment that he made, but that came up. But they do not marry homosexuals. There's other things like, dude, I have a friend. I'm not saying anybody's name, so I'll kind of give a brief synopsis. But
I mean, if the person heard it, who I'm talking about, they would know.
I have a friend who was married to a girl. They were high school sweethearts. Were together for like 4, 5, 6, 7 years. They get married. After 1 year, she decides, I want to start going to church again. Well, they weren't saved at all. They weren't in church at all before. So he doesn't even believe in God. And so he's like, whatever, she's got this Jesus thing going, right? Well, then I find out it's not like she's going to church. She's going to a Catholic mass. That's her background. So she is one of the people who reverted, went back to that.
A reverter.
Bro, meets with a priest, and the priest tells her, hey, you guys aren't married because you weren't get married by a Catholic priest. And so therefore, you guys can't have sex anymore because you're not married. Even though they were legally married, you're not actually married. And so you guys need to either get legally divorced, or he doesn't have to convert to Catholicism, but you guys need to do a ceremony with a priest. Okay. Then they say, also, when you do get married and you do have sex, no contraception is allowed. And something else that they had talked about was they didn't want kids, and he didn't want kids. But now she's converted to Catholicism again and isn't allowed to not have kids. So, like, if you want to have sex with your wife, you're not allowed to use any kind of contraception, and you're not even allowed to do that until you have a priest come and marry him. Well,
So what happened? So what happened to him?
what ended up happening is that they got divorced, and
So it probably made him
I mean, as
completely hate the church.
if you ask him, I think he's indifferent towards God. Like, he doesn't believe in God. But yeah, he
or
met.
he's like, dang, those freaking people.
Well, they met with the priest and everything, and he was asking the questions. I think he was coming to me like, dude, is this a thing? And I'm like, she picked the one church that is like that about this, because any other church wouldn't do that.
He's like, yo, does your church do this?
I'm like, no, it'd be, totally crazy. But here's what I was saying. The Catholic Church, the priest wasn't apologizing about it. He's like, this is how it is.
Yeah, that's a sin. You want to be right? Be right.
This is what you have to do. And we're like, well, let's disciple this
It's
couple.
like, well, we don't want to.
I mean, I'm on it. There's a little bit of conviction about it. Now, what they're talking about, we don't agree with. We would never tell a woman, hey, you got saved, you've converted to Christianity, since your husband and you. I mean, dude, what if you?
No, we're trying to be. We'll do what they do. We just want to be a little more seasoned with salt. That's all.
What do you mean?
Like, we'll have the conversation, the same exact conversation.
If you guys are sleeping together, we want you to get married. I don't care if he's saved or not. If you guys are planning to spend the rest of your life together and you're not willing to stop having sex, get married. Trust God. Marry this man. I mean, dude, I've asked that question before.
Yeah.
Oh, me and my girlfriend, we've been having sex. Are you gonna stop? Well, probably not. Well, then you need to get married. Like,
well, I don't love her like that.
You know what I'm talking about? Well, then stop having sex. But if you're not willing to do that,
yeah.
Anyway, my point is, I think they're longing for truth, and they're longing for just black and white. This is how it is. And many of the churches, even if you're in a church where they're like that, you're on social media. If you're in a non-evangelical church or you're a part of a Protestant church, you're on social media, you're going to hear all these opinions about it. It's going to make it harder for you to know, like, well, what does my church really think about this? Whereas the Catholic Church, you don't have to ask. You know.
Yeah. Dude, I would love to pivot
Mm.
into this exact thing of, it's so evident when any person joins the body of Christ, and I've been discipling 2 guys for the last couple months now, and you're sending them, different sermons to watch, or you're sending them like Bible plans, or you're, talking about this and that and all this stuff, right? And you're just taking them on this journey. Dude, it is so evident when any new believer or anyone just gets on their phone or even turns on a certain network, at some point, someone bashes another pastor. At some point, someone bashes another church. At some point, so, and then in the comment section, it's just free market range battle. So you have all these people where it's like, oh, they don't even like each other.
Oh my gosh. Bro.
Like, why would I want to be a part of that? We need to do better.
It's true. And dude, no, it is a strategy of the enemy.
Dude, what?
Because
He's a genius.
What did Jesus say? He said, by this they will know that you are my disciples, how you have love one for another.
Yeah.
He was saying, the way that you treat each other is the way that the world will know that you're Christian, and that you are my disciples. It didn't say they'll know you by the necklace you're wearing with the cross on it.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't say that they'll know you by, what you say about what you believe.
Yeah.
Didn't say that they will know you by, doesn't even say this, bro. They will know you by the fruit of the Spirit. Didn't say that. He said that they will know you because of your love for each other.
Yeah.
The way that we as believers treat each other will be a sign to the world that we are like Christ and we are the light of the world. Like that's his strategy for us to show the world what they're missing was our community with each other. So what does the enemy do to show that we are actually not Christ's disciples and to confuse the message that we have and make it less attractive to the world? That's why. That's why the most bitter, crazy, argumentative comment sections on YouTube or on Instagram or on TikTok are on Christian content creators or Christian pastors or in churches stuff.
100%.
It sucks, bro.
Super sucks.
Like Mr. Beast's feeds.
It's like, this is so awesome.
Yeah.
We love what you're doing. Way to give back. That was hilarious.
And some people are like, well, you could have spent the money on better things. Can't believe you're wasting your money on this when people are starving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's those two.
But dude, when you go to a church, it's like personal attacks. The favorite word is heretic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's a heretic. Oh my gosh, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Everybody's a heretic these days. I mean,
and since we've had so many heretics, now we have an entire generation. Nah, not an entire generation. No, you have an entire generation who is now brought to wherever they're on the fork in the road. Christian-wise, they've grown in this world, our world. And they've seen people talk about, like, they've seen it already.
Like they've seen Carl Lentz fall.
They've seen everything. They've seen everything.
Robert Morris go to jail. Yeah. They've seen, of course, all the scandals. They've seen Stephen Furtick's big house, which I don't know why that's a problem necessarily,
dude,
but that they've seen that.
They've seen
Joel Osteen didn't open his doors when there was a hurricane.
Yeah, they see Mike Todd porn. They see everything, right? Every different version. Yeah.
Oh, they see Mike Todd. Wait, tell us one about Mike Todd. What do they see in Mike Todd?
He's got a couple that people don't like. The one that I've heard the most.
Oh, the spit on the guy's face.
No, that's
that
not.
was
No,
a big
the
one.
one that I hear the most that people bother people is the syrup on the Bible.
Oh yeah,
that one didn't really bother me as much.
I mean, he was trying to show people this is how you treat
Yeah,
this thing.
that I thought this.
But you literally had to do that to a Bible.
Yeah. So
What if he was like, guys, look, the pages are blank. It was just a.
he could have done it to an iPhone. That's people's Bibles.
True.
But this is what I'm trying to say, bro. Is this, and we can wrap it up with this, and we can hopefully get people to think with this thought here. As Christians, as Christ believers, as followers of the way, as
You like saying that.
because it's like the most
It makes it sound like we're in a cult.
the cool one.
Every time you say that,
A cool one.
Every time you say that, I'm like, followers of the way.
That's what it's called.
I know. I mean, it
They
is.
say that.
Okay, go ahead.
Who said it?
I mean, Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the
And
life."
what do the other guys
So
say?
you're the follower of the way.
Okay, so just chill out, okay?
A follower of Jesus would be a less culty way to say it.
Either way, dude.
Okay.
This is just to narrow down the filter. Those were filters.
I like
Those were filters. You
I liked
Christians,
it.
believers,
followers of the
like,
way.
that was like that was like that last
Jehovah's
filter.
Witness, Catholics. Okay, so what
This is
about
the story. We need to, one, not just sign up for this mission of like, oh, we want to love people, because we do it. We sign up for it, but we rarely do it. This is the 2 steps. This Sunday, coming up, love the people in that room. Get to know the people in that room. Do something to know the family, whatever it is, do something, and let's start to actually love each other the right way so that our children see how to display our discipleship.
Yeah.
If we can do a better job, and going back, I'm not knocking people switching or going to anything, because I have also a couple friends who I have served with them before, and they're entertaining this idea of going back to a more traditional church.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, oh, so dude, I was like, man, you've taught some dope Bible studies. So I don't know if you're able to do that there, but I think it's dope.
I think it's just people. It's all summed up. The people are disenfranchised with. Is there a better word for disenfranchised?
That's a pretty good word.
But,
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so I think people are disenfranchised with the modern style of church because of all of the negative aspects that have been birthed out of unhealthy churches. The overuse of volunteers to the point of burnout and in many cases abuse. The focus on performance rather than
Presence.
The focus on agenda rather than spirit-led. And dude, spirit-led versus agenda, they have their own problems too. But the point is, like, if everything is systematized and proceduralized, that can be viewed by many as
something's going on there.
Like that you were trying
manufacture something.
Yes, that you are manufacturing something, which doesn't hold up in the comparison to the traditional side because it's very proceduralized. But they're like, we're not trying to fancify it. We're not trying. Now, at the same time, you've got gold trim everywhere, and the most expensive treasures in the world are owned by you guys. So, like, okay, I sure. Like, we have fancy lights, and you guys have paintings of Michelangelo. Like, I mean, or paintings by Michelangelo. Like, sure. We each have to each their own. Like,
we've got ocean graphics behind words. You have the dopest stained glass windows.
Yeah, like some churches paid $50,000 on an LED screen, and you guys paid $50,000 on stained glass windows. Like, to me, I'm like, if you start dealing with a money thing, the traditional liturgical churches, that argument doesn't hold up because they spend way more money into other things.
I'd be down for if all churches had to have one thing in common. Any church.
Yeah.
Haitian church. Asian church.
Yeah.
Any church.
Yeah.
Stained glass windows.
They're pretty cool, but I don't know if a mud hut in Zambia that they meet him for worship needs to have stained glass
when the sun
windows.
comes through and it shines colors on there, and they're singing 1,000 billion. I don't know if they sing that song in Zambia, but
I think really it is people just tired of that because it sounds and feels too much like politics. It sounds and feels too much like Hollywood.
Oh,
It sounds
yeah.
and feels too much like these things that I think society is disenfranchised with anyway.
Yeah.
So like pop culture is now, it looks negatively on those things that have been like the established
Yeah.
media for so long. So now when you go into a church that looks like that and feels like that, you want something that existed before any of this.
Yeah.
And so then they go back to that. But dude, to me, if you're like, well, Alex, if that's the case, why aren't you a Catholic? Well, because we're not going to get into the insane corruption of the Catholic Church over the years, or the super weird theology they have on certain things like infant baptism and
Yeah, let's just stop.
okay, I'll stop.
It does get weird.
But my point is, like,
Hey, so does Pentecostals. It gets weird.
I think the Protestant Reformations was a super correction that God allowed to happen in the big C church because it had been steered so wrong by
Yeah, no,
the world's
yeah.
political powers at the time.
I'm dope. This is what's exciting.
But the enemy has tried to attack that thing that was a correction.
But this is what's exciting for that world. They have some really dope people who speak really well in that sphere, and they have some really young people who are really influential in that sphere. Like one of my favorite people that I actually got to meet, and he's not even a celebrity. I could care, like whatever. But Elijah Lamb, he's one of these young people who is like having these conversations, and I think he even said it recently on a podcast with I don't know who. I heard a clip where he said something where he was something, and I was like, oh, I didn't know what that word was.
He had posted a post that went pretty. It had lots of views and lots of debate on it, and it was the reasons why I'm still Protestant and not Catholic.
Yeah. So,
but he is. I mean, how old is he?
18, 19, 20.
So I think he's a reflection of the young adults that we're talking about,
Yeah.
but maybe one of the best to express it in words because he's so articulate. But I think that the reason why it is that thing because he's smart. He wants to learn. Well, we believe this. Well, why do we believe this? Well, we believe that because this guy said it. But well, why did what did they believe before him? And you start going all the way back, and it leads eventually to a council that was a part of the Catholic Church because all of Christianity eventually does go back to the Catholic Church.
I'd be down.
Not the Roman Catholic Church was something different. And of course, there's also the Greek Orthodox Church. They also tie their roots back to the original disciples, and so does the Catholic Church.
That was my question.
Yeah.
Whatever is
was like Greece and
whatever's taking place in the John Wick movies, whatever that is. You seen those, or you just
is
watch
that like
Christian
Russian
movies?
Orthodoxy?
Do you just watch Christian movies?
Yeah, I only watch Christian. I only watch The Chosen and
But in
VeggieTales.
John Wick, there's a John Wick VeggieTales.
That's like Russian Orthodoxy, I think.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
I'd be down if I could fight like John Wick.
Oh wait, yeah, there's like some assassins.
Yeah, cool. But there's also like, hey, this is a safe place. We don't do any of that here.
Right. Well,
that just threw off the whole conversation. You can leave that out.
None of. Is there a problem that requires a solution? I don't know if I would go that far as to say that. I believe that God will lead His people. If people follow the Holy Spirit, you cannot go wrong. I think that the voice needs to be loud and clear. The voice of the Holy Spirit should be louder in people's lives than the stuff that's around them. So you got to seek that out.
Humans have made Jesus' voice to be 1,000 different voices.
Right.
But there's one voice. One band.
And
one
it's covered
sound.
in syrup at Michael Todd's
One
church.
band. One sound.
The word.
Jesus Christ.
Well,
if you have any opinions,
dude, please. I mean, I'd like to get feedback because this is a pretty raw conversation. Like we're like unpacking our thoughts as we're saying it. So I don't know. I reserve the right to change my mind, but this is kind of what I think. A lot of the reasons we're seeing people move, some of the reasons are because of what we're talking about.
Nice. That was the first time you said that in all 30-something episodes. I reserve the right to change my mind.
Because a lot of the stuff I'm like, this is how it is. But on this, I'm like, I don't really know. I mean, maybe.
Convince me.
Yeah, exactly. Prove it. All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week. Love you. Hallelujah.
Glory.